Hi, good morning, sisters. Um, wow, I'm really excited to be sharing this Facebook Live today from the beautiful jungles of Costa Rica. For those of you who do not know me, my name is Tish. I'm a holistic healing practitioner, and I also work with women to empower them through their cyclical nature. I host retreats here in Costa Rica, and I have a lot of online offerings if you wanted to check that out. I've created this group called Bliss, Musings, Sisterhood to have a container where women can come together to share knowledge that I believe should be freely available to all women so that we can step fully into our own power and take care of our feminine design through our cyclical nature. I myself have been on the pill for many years. I had an IUD. My hormones was completely out of whack. I had a lot of womb trauma, which I was unaware of. And so for the last 3 years, I've been diving deep into healing my own body and my womb and all the traumas associated with what I was going through. And little by little, I've been pulling off the layers, and I've come to this space now where I can share and bring on amazing sisters that can also share their knowledge. So welcome if this is the first time you're watching, and for those of you returning, welcome back. I'm really excited to have my guest today, Carly Rae. Welcome, Carly.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Yes, I'm so excited. So for those of you who don't know Carly, she is the creator of WombMama. She's a structural integration practitioner, she created holistic pelvic care, and she's also a full spectrum doula. And maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about yourself, Carly, and how this all started.
Yeah, so I've been doing manual therapy for 12 years now, and earlier on in my life, I was a drug addict and an alcoholic, and I got pregnant and I had an abortion. And that experience, I was treated very well through that experience. And it's always been something that's impacted me in the work that I do. And then when I was 25, I went to Africa for the first time, and I saw a young girl outside of a doctor's clinic who tried to give herself an abortion with a broomstick. And that experience really rocked my world and lit this fire inside of me because I had to do something to be a part of the change. It was heartbreaking to see another woman go through something like that. And that set me on my path to specializing in women's health, in Tammy Lynn Kent's work of holistic pelvic care, in Rosita Arvigo's work of Arvigo Therapy, structural integration and nutrition, and the full spectrum doula work. And I'm actually doing my traditional midwifery training right now as well.
Oh, wow. Amazing. Mm-hmm. Wow. And definitely I can resonate with like hearing these stories of women going through these abortions that is so traumatic. I've heard of stories back in South Africa where people would take like a hanger, a steel cut hanger, and it's just like, it blows my mind. So thank you for sharing and being vulnerable. So let's just move on to our topics of discussion today. Our first topic would be the pelvic bowel alignment. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the pelvic bowl, this is our pelvic bowl, our hips, pubic bone, back here's our sacrum. So our sacrum, this big bone, and our tailbone, and then our two sit bones. And alignment of the whole body is absolutely crucial, but especially the pelvic bowl. When we live in a tilt that's backwards like this, our pelvic organs, mainly our uterus and our bladder, are not supported as they should. So in a male body, the pelvis should be straight like this, very neutral, but in a female body, we should have a slight tilt forward. And working with your posture, working with your whole body alignment is absolutely crucial to living in your body properly, having a healthy, happy pelvic floor, vagina, uterus, you name it. Everything's connected, and our alignment is crucial.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for me, I can definitely share that this is what we teach in yoga, right? As there is that natural curve in the pelvic floor. And that's why it's so important for us to also, when we practice yoga, to really focus on the lower as well as the upper abdominal area so we can really tighten those muscles muscles in the vaginal field, you know, to make that stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. But one issue there is that, you know, there's too much tucking in the exercise world, in yoga classes, in, you know, weightlifting classes. They tell you to tuck your pelvis, and most people overdo it. They over tuck and they create a posterior pelvic tilt, and that creates a huge amount of hypertonicity, over guarding in the pelvic floor. And yeah, you want a strong pelvic floor, but a tight pelvic floor is not a strong pelvic floor, because when it's tight, it's locked. It's locked in this short and contracted position, and then it can't expand and soften and open, and the pelvic floor needs to. Your vaginal walls need to be able to expand and soften and go through their full range of motion. And unfortunately, because we sit too much, we tighten and we do too many Kegels, our pelvic floor is locked in this short, tight place, and it can't go through that full movement.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that. So let's talk a little bit about scar tissue and its effects on the body.
So scar tissue, a lot of women have scar tissue if they've had a laparoscopic surgery, if they have had endometriosis for many, many years, if they've had their cervix scraped from a LEEP procedure from abnormal cells, or if they've torn during childbirth, had an episiotomy. Any kind of surgery in the pelvic bowl is going to leave scar tissue. And scar tissue on the surface, you know, you'll have this nice little line, but under the surface, because of inflammation and trauma and dehydration, it spreads. It kind of spreads like wildfire, and then it holds all the tissue together. It pulls things out of alignment, and it can scar tissue wreaks havoc in the pelvic floor. It can cause a lot of different pain and a lot of numbness in the vagina, and it really causes a lot of problems for women. And one of the best self-care techniques for women to deal with scar tissue is castor oil packs over their womb, and then also using castor oil internally. I like to recommend getting a syringe and filling it with castor oil, and you want to use high quality organic cold pressed castor oil, inserting it into your vagina, and then laying in a supported bridge pose so that the castor oil falls all the way back to your cervix and can coat the whole interior vaginal area. And you want to do this like ideally every single night for a month, because castor oil needs time. It takes time to do the magic that it does, but it's amazing the shifts it can make in the pelvic bowl. Also, using castor oil as lubrication for sex is another great way to get it massaged into your vaginal tissue.
Wow, I really love that. Thank you. What is your thoughts on neem oil? I've had one of my sisters sharing that she was using neem oil for sexual protection.
So I have heard that you can use neem oil as a form of birth control. Yeah. I've personally never tried it, and I do, in my research, it's hard to find high quality neem oil, and I wouldn't use it if you couldn't find the best quality that there is out there. But neem oil isn't doing what castor oil is doing. Castor oil is specifically for scar tissue adhesion, and it's revitalizing the tissue. Yeah, and you can use castor oil like literally on your whole body. If you have breast issues, if you're having lumps or painful sore breasts, you can do castor oil packs on your breasts, on your liver, on your whole tummy. It's amazing.
It's like the key oil.
Yeah, absolutely.
The magic oil.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So let's talk a little bit about menstrual medicine, what that is, and share with us a little bit.
Menstrual medicine to me is all about our relationship with our body and knowing where we are in our cycle, developing a relationship with our bodies when we are bleeding, not hating ourselves and our blood time. It's really changing that relationship with our bodies and learning, so many women have no idea what day they are in their cycle. So journaling and tracking your cervical mucus, tracking your blood, what it's like each day that you do bleed, tracking your emotions, tracking your digestion. It doesn't have to be this huge, big thing, but when we write down those few specific little details about our bodies and our emotions and what's going on with us, it gives us a huge picture of what's going on with our health and vitality. And that is medicine in and of itself. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. When I start working with women, this is the first thing I try to share with them, is to really make a point of it, to every day just journal about, your menstrual cycle.
Exactly. Yeah.
And just becoming aware, right? Just bringing that awareness, like from
Yes.
the energy level to like the emotions that's arising, how you feeling sexually within your body. These are all ways, this is all medicine,
Yeah.
that is really helping us to have a beautiful cycle.
Exactly. And we'd never really been taught how to have that relationship with our bodies. So when we can start to just simply have the awareness and write down the little things that are going on inside of us, it develops that deep relationship that our uterus is yearning for with us. Our uterus and our vagina, our whole womb space wants to have a relationship with us. And that's why we get endometriosis, painful periods, because she's speaking to us and she needs to do big things to get our attention. And when we start to have that conversation, magic can happen.
Yes, yes, yes. And this ties in beautifully to our next topic of discussion, which is the body relationship.
Yeah. So through the work that I do, especially when I first started receiving the Arvigo therapy, which is mind abdominal massage, I had never touched my tummy like that before in my life. And, so many women they're at war with their bodies. We have such horrible relationships with ourselves. We wish we looked this way. We wish we didn't have this. And in my workshops, I always go around and I ask women one thing that they love about their bodies. And it's a struggle for women to pick one thing, whether it's their big toe or their breasts or, whatever it is. And that's heartbreaking. So the more we touch ourselves, the more we talk to our bodies, the more awareness we bring to our bodies and bring our body back into its natural homeostasis state, I think it develops a lot deeper, healthier, happier relationship. And your body is not going to thrive and be healthy and happy if you are a warrior with yourself and thinking, oh, I wish I looked this way. Oh, I wish I, had that ass or whatever. It's just not going to happen. We really need to change that conversation that we're having with ourselves every single day. The thoughts that we tell ourselves every single day need to shift. And sometimes you have to start, you fake it till you make it. Mantras are a beautiful thing, I really like the practice of Ho'oponopono. I'm sorry, please forgive me, I thank you, and I love you. And I've been using that practice for years. And especially when I'm in a really deep, dark place and, hating myself, hating my body, using that mantra over and over, it can shift things in a big way.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yes, I love that. And I also just want to say that, for a long time I was practicing Ho'oponopono and I thought I was telling someone else that, but Ho'oponopono is really about yourself and sharing that with yourself and not someone else outside of you. So
yeah, exactly.
And then with regards to the body relationship, is there maybe a tool that you can share with us today of one thing that we could perhaps do to love our bodies more, or to become or to step into a better relationship?
Touching ourselves, hands down. We live in a touch-deprived society. We do not touch ourselves enough, and we do not touch other people enough. And just gently touching, and caressing your whole body is amazing.
And then something that I also love to share with some of my students is I ask them just to go, after they've taken a shower or bath, is to stand in front of the mirror and look at their body, and then just choose one part of their body, placing the hands on there and sending it love. Like, I really love my breasts, or I really love my womb, or whatever it is. And then looking and accepting, right? Coming to that acceptance of, this is my body and this is my temple and this is beautiful. And even though I do not like these little pieces underneath my, my arms, I still love you. I'm here. I'm sending you love.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Yeah. So the next topic that we're going to be talking about a little bit is intervaginal massage. I'm really excited for this one.
So intervaginal massage, it has a couple points to it. I think the only time we touch our vagina and vulva as women is when we're going to the bathroom to wipe, when we're washing ourselves. at a vaginal exam with the doctor, and then maybe we touch ourselves during sex and maybe we masturbate. But most women that I've had conversations with, even if they do masturbate, they're just touching their clitoris, and then they don't explore their interior. You know, they're not touching themselves inside their vagina. And we need to start to touch ourselves. We need to know what's going on inside our vagina. We need to see and feel how our vaginal tissue feels. And when we touch ourselves, it shouldn't just be about masturbation. It should be about developing a deeper relationship with ourselves. I like to teach women how to do their own self-pelvic floor release with their thumb. So you would sit up in a nice supported position, and then you just insert your thumb onto the opposite side of the body, and you'd press into your vaginal tissue, and you'd breathe into your pelvic floor for however many breaths. You can take as long as you want to do this. And if it's tender, I would stay in that spot for quite a while, you know, until you feel a softening, until you feel the tissue melt or some warmth come. And then you slowly move to the next spot, and you work all your way around your vaginal tissue and pelvic floor. And when we can start to treat ourselves with that kind of self-care and reverence, it really changes our relationship with our vagina, instead of only touching ourselves to clean ourselves and to have an orgasm. Touch that has no agenda, no goal attached to it is really powerful in the body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really that's really interesting. I really enjoy that, because I think most women, or at least for me, we would think that we would only touch our yoni space when we would masturbate or kind of like wash ourselves. And so just to become more present and feeling into that space, making ourselves more comfortable, right? What do you suggest? How do women actually start that? For, I know, you know, some people, because of their belief systems and things, they don't necessarily believe in masturbation, but
yes.
What do you suggest to kind of like break that barrier? What advice can you give them?
A starting point is really nice to warm your hands up with some castor oils. Make sure that you're really warm and cozy, and just place your hand over your whole vulva like this. And then just breathe into her and see how it feels. And you could stay here for literally 5 minutes and just do this, and you're going to change things. You're going to change your relationship. You're going to bring blood and warmth to the area, to your vulva, and your yoni is going to start to soften and open. So that's a really nice starting point. And then I recommend inserting 2 fingers into your vagina and just breathing in there, breathing into your fingers. And you want to feel that connection with your breath. As you're breathing in, your pelvic floor softens and opens, and as you're exhaling, you do a small Kegel and contraction. And when you have your fingers inserted into your vagina, you're going to feel that connection more. And we want to feel that connection. We want to feel our yoni moving with our breath. And most of the time we don't, because we haven't been doing that with our bodies. So that's a really nice way to start.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah. Thank you. That explains a lot, Carly.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So, you know, we've already been through the topics of discussion, but I also wanted to know, maybe you can share a little bit about doula and midwife and how you started with that, and share a little bit with the women who perhaps don't even know what that means.
Yeah, so a doula is, and there's different kinds of doulas. There are full spectrum doulas that support women through prenatal, birth, postpartum, miscarriage, loss, and abortion. And then there's just a birth doula who supports you in birth. And then there are just postpartum doulas who support women in the postpartum period. And a doula is someone who is like the emotional, spiritual support for the woman. And then a midwife is, it depends on the country that you live in, but midwives are part of the medical system, essentially. And they take on the role of your doctor, and they can order, you know, all the medical tests that you need and do a home birth for you. Whereas a doula is just your support. Your midwife is the one who is like your doctor, essentially. Yeah. But I am a firm believer that our system, our whole medical system and midwifery system is in deep need of a revolution, because unfortunately midwives are not doing the work that the way it was intended to be done, just because of Western medicine, the way it has immensely changed everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, living here in Costa Rica, we have a lot more women leaning towards home births, you know, but I don't know where else in the world how it's like that. So it's just interesting for me to see the shift that's actually happening. You know, a lot more women are leaning towards having home births. So that's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So would you like to share with our sisters today anything else that you feel is coming up for you before we share with them where they can find you?
Yeah. For me, the biggest thing when we're starting to change our relationship with our bodies is bringing that awareness, you know, putting reminders in our phones, because we all have one. We all have a smartphone. Putting reminders to breathe into our yoni, to check into our posture, to touch our belly. You know, the more we do these things and make them daily habits, especially with our belly and our yoni, when we can breathe into our yoni multiple times every single day and allow our belly to be soft and not do that habitual sucking it in. So, and that's like a subconscious thing that a lot of women do because we've been taught it from a very young age. Oh, suck in your tummy, suck in your tummy. And when we suck it in, we're restricting everything in the pelvic bowl. So to be able to soften and breathe into your yoni and let your belly be relaxed and soft and open, that changes everything in your body. That'll change PMS, that'll change cramping, that'll change your sex, because we want this really soft, juicy, open pelvic floor, pelvic bowl, belly, yoni.
Beautiful. I love that. It's definitely true. Okay, so where can the sisters find you? Do you have a website or maybe a Facebook page? Or?
My website is www.carlyrae, CarlyRae.ca. And then my Instagram, I am WombMama, WombMama on Instagram.
Okay, awesome. And we'll also post the links on the feed later today if you wanted to just click and like her page or follow her. Thank you, Carly, so much for your time today. I'm so honored and grateful that you were here sharing your wisdom with us. And I wish you all the best, sister. And hopefully one day I can meet you here in Costa Rica.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Tish.
Okay, love. Have a beautiful day. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.